They smashed the paper price to 61.96 ing. And they want you to believe the rally is over. They want you to believe silver was just another speculative bubble, a meme trade that finally popped. They want you to believe Friday's drop was the market correcting itself. That story is a lie, not a small lie, a lie of omission so massive it borders on criminal negligence. Because while you were staring at the COMEX ticker, while algorithms were dumping paper contracts in New York, while commentators were explaining why silver is dead again, something happened in South Korea that makes the price of silver almost irrelevant. Something that fundamentally changes the chemistry of the global energy transition. Samsung SDI, one of the largest battery manufacturers on Earth, quietly confirmed the specifications for its new solid-state battery production line. The media is calling it a battery breakthrough. They're talking about a 900-mile range. They're talking about 9-minute charging. But they are missing the single most important detail. The detail Wall Street hasn't priced in. The details mining companies aren't prepared for. The detail that makes a 1.1 billion ounce silver deficit look like a rounding error. The secret ingredient in Samsung's new battery isn't lithium. It isn't cobalt. It isn't nickel. It is silver and not trace amounts. We're talking about a massive structural increase in silver consumption per vehicle, a technology that transforms silver from a precious metal into a strategic energy metal. In this 4-part deep dive, I'm going to expose the silver bomb Samsung just dropped on the global supply chain. I'm going to explain the chemistry behind the silver carbon anode, run the math the IEA refuses to publish, and prove there is not enough silver on Earth to electrify the global fleet using this technology, and show you why Friday's drop wasn't a crash. It was the last chance you may ever get to buy silver before the auto industry realizes it made a fatal calculation. The banks are playing a paper game. Samsung is playing a physics game. Physics always wins. This is the story of the silver carbon revolution, the chemistry wall. To understand why this news is an extinction-level event for silver supply, you need to understand a little chemistry. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple. For 30 years, the world has run on lithium-ion batteries. Your phone, your laptop, the Tesla Model Y, and your driveway. They all use liquid electrolyte lithium-ion cells. They're efficient, cheap, and scalable, but they have a fatal flaw. It's called the dendrite problem. When lithium batteries are charged too fast or charged too many times, lithium ions form tiny needle-like structures called dendrites. They grow like jagged roots inside the battery. Eventually, they pierce the separator between the anode and cathode. And when that happens, short circuit, thermal runaway, fire. This is why EVs take 45 minutes to charge, why they degrade in winter, why lithium-ion fires burn at thousands of degrees, and why insurers quietly hate EVs. The holy grail has always been the solid-state battery. No liquid electrolyte, no fire risk, instant charging, double the energy density. Every automaker, Toyota, Volkswagen, BMW, has promised it in 5 years for over a decade. And they all failed. Why? Because they couldn't stop dendrites. Graphite anodes didn't work. Silicon expanded too much. Pure lithium metal was unstable. Then Samsung SDI found the solution. One element, one layer, one breakthrough that stops dendrites cold. That element is silver, specifically a silver carbon nanocomposite anode layer. This is not speculation. It is published science. Samsung's prototype cells use a thin layer of silver mixed with carbon to regulate lithium deposition. Silver acts as a host material. It distributes lithium ions evenly, preventing spikes from forming. The result? Faster charging, smaller batteries, higher energy density, no fire risk. But there is a catch, a massive catch. To make this work, you need silver, not micrograms or grams. For the first time in history, silver is not just used for conductivity. It becomes an active electrochemical material. It becomes part of the battery's DNA. And the auto industry is about to scale this to millions of vehicles. Do you see the problem yet? When the math breaks, you might be thinking, okay, so they use some silver. Cars already use silver. True. Let's put this in context. A combustion engine car uses 15 to 20 dries of silver. An EV already uses 30, 50 dry. That alone has a strained supply, but solid-state batteries change the math completely. We are no longer talking about switches and contacts. We are talking about coating the anode of every single cell in a battery pack. Samsung's own research suggests silver loading of 5 TOD, 10 G per kilogram of anode material. Aggressive estimates, 1.5 to 1 kilo per vehicle. Let's be absurdly conservative. Let's assume solid state adds only 50 drying of silver per EV total per carrying 100 gram. Global car production monitors 90 million vehicles per year. If just 10% adopt this technology, 9 million cars would create $100, $229 million in new silver demand. Now ask the real question. What if adoption hits 50%? What if loading averages 200 dri? That's 100 plus million ounces per year. Where does that silver come from? COMEX registered inventories are already near historic lows. Global mine production is flat at 830 million ounces. We already run a structural deficit. This single technology could consume 25-35% of total global mine supply just for car batteries. That leaves no silver for solar, no silver for electronics, no silver for jewelry, no silver for investors. This is not incremental demand. This is a step function shock. And Samsung just confirmed they're building the pilot line. This is not 2035. This is now. While banks smashed the price on Friday, procurement officers were locking in long-term supply contracts. They know the math. Because without silver, those billion-dollar battery factories are worthless. The extinction equation. Let's run the numbers nobody wants to publish. Even conservative adoption pushes demand beyond total supply, and recycling won't save us. Here's the dirty secret. Gold is recycled at 90%, silver is recycled at 20%, while dispersion silver is industrial dust. It's smeared across billions of devices and microscopic layers. It costs more energy to recover than it's worth, so it gets buried. Solid-state batteries lock silver away for 15 to 20 years. The recycling wave arrives after the crisis, not before it. Mining won't save us either. New mines take 10 to 15 years to bring online. Our grades are collapsing. Politics is tightening. Supply cannot respond in time. That means the only pressure valve left is price. And when price fails, governments step in. Silver becomes strategic. Allocation replaces availability. Retail loses. Industry wins. So what do? Lane 1, physical metal. Forget collectibles. Forget semi-numismatics. Industry wants atoms, not artwork. Weight beats art. Bars beat coins. Ounces matter. Lane 2. Miners avoid hedged miners. Hedging kills upside. You want primary silver miners. Unhedged production operating leverage. Battery makers may buy stakes to secure supply. That's when stocks explode. Lane 3. Jurisdiction. Clean silver matters. USA, Canada, and Australia. Friendly supply chains qualify for subsidies. Risky jurisdictions will be discounted or seized. The final warning. Next week will be volatile. That is psychological warfare. Price noise does not change chemistry. Paper does not change physics. The bank smashed silver to 61 by 96 to shake weak hands. But Samsung just rewrote the demand curve. This isn't a bubble. This is a structural collision between technology and geology. The silver bomb is already detonated. The shockwave hits the price later. Physics always wins. If you understand this, you're early. If you ignore it, you'll pay for it later. They want you to believe that silver is just a speculative bubble that just popped. They are lying to you. Not just a little lie. This is a lie of omission so massive it borders on criminal negligence. While you were staring at the comics ticker yesterday, while the algorithms were dumping paper contracts in New York, something happened in South Korea that makes the price of silver irrelevant. Something happened that changes the fundamental chemistry of the global energy transition. Samsung SDI, one of the largest battery manufacturers on the planet, just quietly confirmed the specifications for their new solid-state production line. The media is calling it a battery breakthrough. They are talking about 900-mile range at 9-minute charging. But they are missing the single most important detail. The detail that Wall Street hasn't priced in. The detail that the mining companies haven't prepared for. The detail that makes 1.1 billion ounces of deficit look like a rounding error. The secret ingredient in Samsung's new battery isn't lithium. It isn't cobalt. It isn't nickel. It is silver. And not just a trace amount. We are talking about a massive structural increase in silver consumption per vehicle. We are talking about a technology that moves silver from being a precious metal to a strategic energy metal. In this 4-part deep dive, I'm going to expose the silver bomb that Samsung just dropped on the global supply chain. I'm going to walk you through the chemistry of the silver carbon node. I'm going to do the math that the IEA refuses to publish, the math that proves there isn't enough silver on Earth to electrify the fleet using this technology. And I am going to show you why Friday's price drop to 62s was not a crash. It was the last chance you will ever have to buy silver before the autos. Industry realizes they have made a fatal calculation. The banks are playing a paper game. Samsung is playing a physics game. Physics always wins. This is the story of the silver carbon revolution. To understand why this news is an extinction-level event for silver supply, you have to understand a little bit of chemistry. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple. For 30 years, the world has run on lithium-ion batteries. Your phone, your laptop, the Tesla Model Y, and your driveway. They all use liquid electrolyte lithium-ion batteries. They're great, but they have a fatal flaw. It's called the dendrite. When you charge a lithium battery fast, or when you charge it too many times, the lithium ions form these little needle-like crystals called dendrites. They grow like jagged roots inside the battery. Eventually, they pierce the separator, the wall between the anode and the cathode. When that happens, boom! Short circuit, thermal runaway, fire. This is why EVs take 45 minutes to charge. You have to charge them slowly to prevent dendrites. This is why they catch fire. This is why they lose range in the winter. The holy grail has always been the solid-state battery. A battery with no liquid, no fire risk, instant charging, double the range. Every company from Toyota to Volkswagen has been promising this for a decade, but they all failed. Why? Because they couldn't stop the dendrites from forming on the anode. Graphite anodes didn't work. Silicon anodes expanded too much. Pure lithium metal anodes were too unstable. Then the researchers at Samsung SDI found the solution. They discovered that one specific element, when applied as a nanomposite layer, completely solved the problem. It allowed the lithium ions to move freely, but it stopped the dendrites cold. It was stable, it was conductive, it was perfect. That element is silver, specifically a silver-carbon nano-composite layer. This isn't a theory, this is published science. Samsung's prototype cells use a thin layer of silver mixed with carbon to regulate the deposition of lithium. The silver acts as a host for the lithium ions. It dissolves them evenly, preventing the spikes from forming. This allows the battery to be smaller, lighter, faster, and safer. But there is a catch, a massive catch. To make this battery work, you need silver, and you don't need micrograms of it, you need grams of it. For the first time in history, silver is not just being used for its conductivity. It is being used as an active material in the electrochemical storage process. It is becoming part of the battery's DNA, and the auto industry is about to scale this technology to millions of cars. Do you see the problem yet? You might be thinking, okay, so they use a little silver. So what? Cars already use silver. Let's context this. Right now, a standard combustion car uses about 15 to 20 grams of silver. It's in the window switches, the seat motors, the defrosters, the ECU. An electric vehicle uses more, about 30 to 50 gra. It's in the inverters, the battery management system, the high voltage cables. This EV bump is already draining the market. It's part of the reason we have a 1.1 billion ounce deficit. But the solid-state battery changes the math entirely. We aren't talking about switches anymore. We are talking about coating the anode of every single cell in a 1000 lb battery pack. Early estimates from the Samsung papers suggest the silver loading could be anywhere from 5G to 10 gram per kilogram of anode material. Some aggressive estimates suggest it could be as high as 0.5 to 1 kilogram of silver per vehicle for high-performance long-range packs. Let's be conservative, extremely conservative.